All right? If I tell you to do something and you obey me and you really didn't want to do it, you can obey me muttering under your breath with a lousy attitude, but you still do it. All right? But if I tell you to do something because of our relationship and you are submitted to me, even if you don't agree with it, you'll do it with the right attitude, trusting that even if you can't see it, there's a reason for it. It's the attitude. It's the heart. It's the approach. Obedience is part of submission, but submission is a different relational position than just obedience. Hold on. Go back. Let your husband hand you the mic.
I'm sorry. So in marriage, when we take, I think it says obey in the marriage vows. So does it, if I'm getting it correct, so you start out just kind of doing it in obedience, and then the relationship is built, and then you do it, it becomes a submission?
Well, in the wedding vows, depending on the standard vows you do, there's usually also the word submit, and to submit myself to you. So the obedience is in the context of submission. Okay? That's in most vows. Now again, I'm not familiar with all the mainstream vows and everything else. I know the vows that we did, which were sort of the standard vows when we got married, had that in there. Okay? It had my wife had the words in there, and to submit myself to you. Okay? So if there was obey in there at the beginning, it's in the context of submit, which is an attitude, it's an approach, it's a mindset, it's a heart, it's a relationship.
Okay.
Where even though I can't see it and I don't agree with it, I trust it. Okay? Obedience, you could do that with the worst attitude ever, you're still going to do it. Have you ever told your kids to do something they didn't want to do and they went, but they did it though, right? They did what you said, but their attitude was just, don't make that face. Okay? Their attitude, I'm pointing at your daughter, that's okay. All right? But their attitude was all wrong. That's not submission.
Okay.
Okay, submission is I don't agree with you. I can't see what you're talking about. It doesn't make sense to me, but I trust you anyway because I trust that either you're going to be right or if you're wrong, it's still going to work out because you'll make the adjustment and fix it if it's wrong. So I'm just going to trust you. So submission is a completely different approach and attitude and mindset.
I appreciate you explaining that and helping me walk out this new way of viewing submission, because I honestly thought that submit was, I submit this thought to you, Nate. And
no,
that didn't work out so well.
No,
so.
Submitting information to him is not, no. Although he should desire you to submit information to him. Absolutely. But then once he makes a decision about it, you must submit yourself authority-wise to his decision. Okay? But that's, again, submission is not like, see, a lot of the Christians and other people you've run into over the years who will throw submission in your face, what they want is dictatorial obedience. They're not understanding submission. When I want my wife to submit, I want her to trust that what I'm doing and what I want her to do or what I want her not to do, there's a reason for it. And even though she can't see it at that moment, and this doesn't happen very often, but trust me is what I'm wanting. I'm not wanting obedience, I'm wanting trust. Okay? It's a different relationship. But the reason that women have a problem with submission is because almost all the guys that have thrown it in their face want obedience, not submission. Because they're seeing it as obedience. I said to do it, you need to do it. No. I said to do it, I need you to trust me that doing it is the right thing. Or I told you not to do that. I need you to trust me that this is the right way to go. Not to do that, but to do something different. Okay? And so we have a lot of men that don't understand submission either because they think it's dictatorial obedience that they're asking their wives to do. The father's not asking for dictatorial obedience. He's asking for submissive obedience. For you to choose to trust him even if you can't see it and you don't agree with it. And so ladies, you actually have, and men too, have an opportunity to experience part of that relationship. Men, you get to be Yahweh and Yeshua alike, and that you get to be the one asking for submission and knowing what that feels like. So also when you don't get it, understand that's how it feels like when you don't give it to him also. So sometimes your wife may not do it because he wants you, he may have inspired your wife to do that to you so you know what it feels like. So if your wife is struggling in certain areas, you may ask the question, I wonder if this is what I'm doing to him because my wife is my mirror. Mm-hmm. That not always, but that can be a part of it. Maybe he's inspiring her to do those things to you because you're doing it to him. Not always. So ladies, don't use that as a weapon now. Well, you know, the thing is, I'm only doing that to you because you're doing it to him. Don't you do that. I said sometimes that may be the case. All right? But let's understand that this is, again, the relearning, the resetting of something that's been available to us that we've known about for centuries, but has been done so wrong for so long that it's been Christianese. It's become Christianese. In other words, submission now means obedience. No, submission is a form of obedience that's more about trust and a relationship, a loving relationship, than it is about obedience. Okay? Which is why you don't ask for submission unless it's important. Meaning it's going to hurt the person or the family or something if the person doesn't listen. It's important that something is done this way or not done that way. Okay? And that's why you don't put somebody in that position to need to submit like every day, all the time. It should only come up occasionally. That's why I told you. And you can ask my wife. She gets yes, 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 yes all the time. And that few times when I have to say, no, we shouldn't do that, that's the one time or few times that I expect submission. Okay? Where I say, no, I think we're not going to do that. We're going to do it this way instead. It doesn't mean because I'm right. It's because in my mind, it's important that we do this thing a different way. And I also take on the responsibility that if I'm wrong, I own that. Guys, if you ask your wife to submit and you're wrong, you need to own that. Mm-hmm. You need to be prepared to fix it, set it straight, and make it right because you insisted on your position. And if she submitted to it, own it, and you better follow through. Ladies, don't expect him to make decisions always perfectly. What you expect him to do is if he messes up, that he fixes it, that he owns it. That's all. So guys, don't blame this and that and the other thing. Own it. It was your idea. It was your choice. You asked for submission. Own it.